Hey Stoic warriors, welcome back to Deep Dive Stoic. Right now, you're probably lying there, staring up at the ceiling, feeling the storm raging inside your mind. It's not just chaos, it's a battlefield. Every thought explodes like a grenade, scattering your focus, shattering your will, drowning you in a flood of doubt, procrastination, regret. It's heavy, isn't it? That crushing weight of everything you said you'd do but didn't. You told yourself you'd change. You promised yourself tomorrow would be different, but let's tear the veil away right now. Tomorrow is a lie. It's the sweetest, deadliest illusion you've ever known. It's a phantom, a cruel mirage designed to keep you paralyzed, locked inside a cycle that slowly suffocates your soul. And deep down, you've always known it. You've woken up too many mornings haunted by broken promises, staring into the emptiness of another wasted day, wondering how you let it happen again. That boiling frustration you feel building up inside you right now, that's not weakness. That's your spirit raging for a way out. That's your soul screaming for war. You're done. Done with the half-truths, done with the excuses, done betraying the greatness buried inside you. And the change you crave, it's not soft, it's not easy. Real transformation is brutal. It's a fire that demands everything from you. It will tear you apart, strip away every lie, every comfort, every excuse, until only the strongest, truest version of yourself remains. But only if you're willing to endure it. Only if you're ready to bleed for it. And this is where Stoicism steps in. Not to soothe you, not to pat you on the back, but to rip apart the illusions that have kept you caged. Stoicism isn't a warm blanket. It's a sword, sharp, cold, merciless, cutting away everything weak within you. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who carried the weight of an empire on his shoulders, said it clearly. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. What does that truly mean? It means you are not a victim. You are not a prisoner of fate. You are not chained to your circumstances. You are only shackled by your own mind. If your thoughts are undisciplined, your life will crumble. If your mind is weak, your destiny will slip through your fingers. But today, we aren't here for pretty words. We aren't here to imagine a better life. We are here to unleash a brutal, relentless, unstoppable discipline, the kind that breaks you down and rebuilds you into something indestructible. Today is not about motivation. It's about transformation. It's about grabbing your own soul by the throat and demanding that it rise. This video is not for the dreamers. It's for the warriors, the ones who are done playing small, done pretending, done waiting for some perfect moment that will never come. If you're ready, if you're truly ready, then stay with me. Because today we are diving deep into the 8 unbreakable principles that will forge you into a force the world cannot deny. The old you dies here. The real you rises now. If you're ready to ignite that transformation, hit that like button right now. Share this video with someone who's tired of living in the shadows and is ready to rise. And don't even think about forgetting to subscribe, because we're about to tear down every limit that's ever been placed on you. Stay with me. Stay locked in, because the war for your future is about to begin. Now let's go. 1. Control your first hour. The first hour of your day is not a routine. It's your first battle, and it will decide everything that follows. The moment your eyes open, the war begins. Comfort and weakness are already waiting for you, whispering, begging you to surrender. Your phone lights up, and with one careless glance you lose. You aren't just checking messages. You're handing over your soul to chaos before you've even planted your feet on the ground. That snooze button you love so much, it's a white flag. It's you retreating from the fight before it even starts. Let me ask you something. Are you a puppet to your cravings? Or are you a warrior of discipline? Because the first hour doesn't lie. It exposes who you really are when no one else is watching. Marcus Aurelius didn't expect peaceful mornings wrapped in silk sheets and endless gratitude. He woke up every day expecting selfishness, betrayal, hardship. And yet he still chose to rise. He chose to meet the darkness head-on without flinching. That's what warriors do. That's what discipline demands. The first hour is sacred. It's not meant for weakness. It's not meant for mindless scrolling, for chasing cheap dopamine hits. It's a proving ground where you decide, before the world even touches you, whether you will be its slave or its master. When you win your morning, you claim dominion over the day. When you let the morning slip away, you hand over your power to everything and everyone else. So what should you do instead? You start with breath. Deep, powerful breath that centers you in the present moment. You start with stillness, the quiet command that says, I am in control. You start with truth, the brutal, honest truth that you don't exist to chase pleasure. You exist to conquer weakness, to tear down distraction, to command your own fate. If you can master that first hour, there's nothing this day, or any day, can throw at you that you cannot handle. Because when you own your morning, you own your mind. And when you own your mind, nothing else owns you. Not your boss, not your friends, not your fears. You are a free, relentless, unstoppable force moving through the world with clarity and power. So don't reach for your phone, light a candle, stretch your body. Read words that ignite your soul, not numb it. Write your thoughts. Prime your mind for war, not entertainment. Choose silence over noise, purpose over impulse, strength over weakness. Right now you have a decision to make. Will you seize the first hour and build your empire? Or will you let the first hour seize you and crush your spirit before you've even had the chance to fight? The fight starts the moment you wake up. Win it, and the world is already yours. 2. Kill the voice that wants comfort. There's a voice inside you, a soft, poisonous whisper, telling you it's okay to sleep in, it's okay to skip today, it's okay to just take it easy. That voice sounds gentle, almost caring, but make no mistake, it is your enemy. It is not your friend. It is a parasite feeding off your weakness, growing stronger every time you listen. It doesn't want your greatness. It wants your surrender. Have you ever noticed how easily that voice shows up when you're closest to a breakthrough? When the alarm rings. When it's time to hit the gym. When it's time to work, when no one else is watching. That voice will plead with you, offering excuses wrapped in comfort. You've earned a break. You can try again tomorrow. You don't need to push so hard. But ask yourself, who benefits when you listen? Not you. Every time you give in, you hand over a piece of your destiny. Epictetus said it without mercy. No man is free who is not master of himself. And that voice inside you, it is the lock, the chain, the prison cell. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you tighten those chains around your own neck. It's not the world that's holding you back. It's not bad luck. It's that voice, that treacherous whisper, stealing your life in tiny, silent pieces. So what do you do when it speaks? You don't negotiate. You don't reason. You don't entertain it for a second. You kill it. When it tells you to rest, you move faster. When it begs you to delay, you act immediately. When it seduces you with the easy road, you run harder toward the fire. That voice is not there to help you grow. It's there to keep you trapped in a cycle of mediocrity. Picture that voice like a shadow crawling across your mind, always lurking, always seeking a crack to slip into. It knows your weaknesses. It knows how to manipulate you. But every time you choose discomfort over ease, every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you rip its claws from your soul. You weaken it. You destroy it. This is how warriors are made, not by listening to comfort, but by crushing it beneath their will. Every act of defiance against that voice makes you stronger. Every moment you resist its lies hardens your mind, your body, your spirit. This is the battle no one else sees, the silent war inside you. And it is the most important war you will ever fight. So the next time it speaks, the next time it tries to lull you back into softness, remember this. Comfort is the enemy. Ease is the trap. Discipline is freedom. Master yourself. Crush the voice. Build a mind that cannot be corrupted by weakness. Only then will you be truly unstoppable. 3. Embrace the pain of growth. Nobody wants pain. Nobody wakes up hoping for struggle, for hardship, for suffering. But here's the brutal truth. Without pain, you will never grow. Without discomfort, you will never evolve. The comfort you've been clinging to like a life raft is the very thing that's drowning you. What happens every time you retreat from discomfort, every time you shy away from challenge? You delay your own greatness. You build walls around your weaknesses, hoping to protect yourself from pain, but all you're doing is trapping yourself in a cycle of mediocrity. The life you crave, the strength, the power, the freedom. It lives on the other side of pain, and every time you run from it, you run from your destiny. Let's be clear. Growth is not gentle. It's savage. It tears you apart. It rips through your weaknesses like a storm. Just like muscles must first be torn before they grow stronger, your spirit must be tested by fire. You cannot build resilience without struggle. You cannot gain power without sacrifice. Seneca, the fierce mind of the Stoics, said it best: "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity." Because a man untouched by challenge remains soft, untested, and ultimately powerless. Think about the moments you were at your strongest. They didn't come after days of comfort. They came after pain. After pushing through when everything inside you screamed to quit. After standing tall when the world tried to break you down. Growth demands that you step into the furnace willingly. It demands that you seek the heat, the pressure, the discomfort, because that's where the forging happens. Most people run from the fire. They live their whole lives avoiding it. They create routines, build walls, surround themselves with distraction, anything to avoid facing the brutal work of becoming who they're meant to be. But not you. Not anymore. What if you stopped running? What if you looked pain straight in the eye and said, "I'm ready"? What if you stopped treating struggle like an enemy and started treating it like the sacred forge that will craft you into something indestructible? The truth is simple. You have been hiding from discomfort for too long. You've wrapped yourself in safety, in convenience, in every excuse imaginable. And while you stayed warm and safe, your potential has been rotting away. The clock is ticking. Every second you waste avoiding hardship is a second you will never get back. Today you have a choice. Stay hidden in the shallow safety of comfort, or step into the fire and become something unbreakable. Pain isn't the enemy. Pain is the sculptor. It carves you into the masterpiece you were always meant to be. And when you finally stop running, when you finally welcome the burn, you will discover a power within you that no force on earth can touch. Embrace the pain. Chase the growth. Because the stronger version of you is waiting, just beyond the fire. 4. Let go of the need for approval. You've been waiting for permission, waiting for someone to notice your efforts, waiting for the world to tell you that you're enough, waiting for a nod, a handshake, a word of praise, anything to validate your struggle. But the brutal truth is this: it's never coming. No one is coming to save you. No one will ever see your sacrifices the way you see them. Your friends are too busy fighting their own battles. Your family, your peers, the world, they are locked in their own storms. And if you build your life around waiting for their approval, you will live and die chained to their indifference. You have to face the cold reality that your journey is yours alone. The Stoic path does not wait for applause. It does not rely on validation. It demands that you walk forward when no one else is watching, when no one else even cares. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life, right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. What does that mean? It means your life is too short, too precious to waste on the opinions of others. It means that every second you spend waiting for someone to recognize your worth is a second you rip away from your destiny. True strength is quiet. True greatness burns silently, without the need to be broadcasted to the world. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't beg for recognition. It exists because it is real. It moves because it must. If you are chasing applause, you are chasing shadows. If you are living for likes, for validation, for permission, you are giving away your power to a crowd that neither knows you nor cares about your soul. You are handing your destiny to strangers who will never walk a single mile in your shoes. Ask yourself honestly, are you living for your soul, or are you living for their claps? Are you chasing real growth, or are you building a life meant to impress a world that forgets you the moment you fall silent? Because the truth is this: the moment you stop needing their approval is the moment you are finally free. You stop waiting for recognition. You stop begging for someone else to tell you that you are worthy. You move because it's who you are. You act because it's what your soul demands. When you sever the need for validation, you awaken a force within you that nothing can contain. You build a life based on your own fire, not the fleeting applause of the distracted masses. You become the architect of your fate, not a prisoner locked in by their judgment. Your worth is no longer dictated by how loud they clap or how much they notice. It's built into your bones, forged in your actions, undeniable even when the world refuses to see it. The world may never applaud your struggle. They may never recognize your battles. They may never understand the wars you fight when no one is watching, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you know. You know the blood you've spilled, the demons you've conquered, the walls you've broken through to stand where you stand. That certainty is your approval. That is your crown. That is your freedom. Let them doubt you, let them ignore you, let them misunderstand you. Their silence is not your prison unless you let it be. You are not here for their permission. You are not here to earn their approval. You are here for something far greater, to claim the destiny that has been waiting for you since the day you first dared to dream. 5. Embrace the stillness of the mind. The world is not just loud, it's deafening. From the moment you wake up to the moment you collapse at night, you're bombarded by noise, messages, notifications, news, endless distractions pulling at your focus, draining your energy. It's not just the outside world either. It's inside you now. The chaos has infected your mind, planting cravings, doubts, fears that chatter and scream without mercy. You've been living at the mercy of that noise for so long you don't even recognize how deeply it's poisoned you. The silence feels unbearable because you've forgotten how powerful it is. You've forgotten that stillness isn't emptiness. It's where your real strength waits. Without stillness, your mind is a battlefield you will never win. Without silence, your thoughts are prisoners, scattered and weak. A mind constantly fed by noise is a mind that can never lead, can never conquer, can never rise above. If you cannot sit alone with your own mind, if you cannot command your own attention, you will forever be at the mercy of every flashing screen, every whisper of fear, every hollow craving begging for your obedience. You won't be living. You'll be reacting, flailing, slowly dying beneath the weight of distractions you chose to let inside. The Stoics understood this brutal reality. Epictetus didn't say freedom came from wealth or applause. He said it came from needing less. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. If you want to own your life, you have to first own your mind. Every moment you give in to distraction, every time you trade stillness for stimulation, you sell off a piece of your power. You become smaller, weaker, easier to control. True discipline begins when you demand more from yourself, when you stop feeding the hunger for noise and start embracing the fire of silence. Imagine the strength you'd have if you didn't need constant validation, constant stimulation, constant entertainment. Imagine if you could sit in the silence, no phone, no noise, no crutches, and be fully alive, fully present, fully unshakable. That's where your power is buried, beneath the endless noise you've been drowning in. Most people will never find it because they're too afraid of what they might hear when everything else falls away. But you are not most people. You are not here to be another mindless voice lost in the crowd. Stillness isn't weakness, it's warfare. It's the brutal, unflinching discipline of training your mind to be your ally, not your master. In the stillness, you hear your real voice, the one that's been buried under doubt, fear, and noise. In the stillness, you stop reacting and start commanding. The world will never quiet down. It will only get louder, more desperate to claim your attention. But when you build your own silence, when you forge your own fortress of stillness, nothing outside of you can touch the mind you have forged. Your power doesn't lie in how much noise you can consume. It lies in how much you can silence. It lies in how deeply you can breathe, how clearly you can think, how calmly you can move through the storm, while everyone else is lost and drowning. When you master stillness, you master the storm. You don't need the world to change. You don't need the chaos to stop. You only need to master yourself. And when you do, the world will never have the power to break you again. 6. Embrace your responsibility. You are exactly where you are because of the choices you've made. Every success, every failure, every missed opportunity, they all bear your fingerprints. And that's a brutal truth most people spend their entire lives running from. It's so much easier to blame the world, to point fingers, to say life was unfair, that circumstances were cruel. But every time you do that, you hand over your power. Every time you blame, you tell the world you're not in control, that you are a passenger in your own life. The Stoics refused to live that way. Seneca didn't sugarcoat it when he said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think about that. Time is not your enemy. The world is not your enemy. You are your own enemy every time you waste the precious seconds of your life blaming, waiting, hesitating. The more you refuse to take ownership, the more your life slips through your fingers, like sand you can never recover. Responsibility is terrifying because it means everything rests on your shoulders, but it is also the greatest freedom you will ever know. When you realize no one owes you anything, not success, not happiness, not an easy path, you stop waiting, you stop complaining, you stop expecting life to hand you a destiny you haven't earned. You start building it, one ruthless, disciplined action at a time. Ownership is the only path to power, and until you fully embrace that, you will stay small, angry at the world for not giving you what you were always supposed to create for yourself. Ask yourself right now, what parts of your life have you been blaming on others? What responsibilities have you been too afraid to claim? Because every excuse you make is another brick in the wall keeping you trapped where you are. Every moment you waste blaming the world is a moment stolen from the life you could be living. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is coming to carry you across the finish line. You either take control or you get dragged through life by forces you chose not to master. When you embrace total responsibility, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for the perfect circumstances. You stop hoping for the perfect time. You move because you decide to move. You build because you choose to build. You rise because no other option is acceptable. Responsibility forces you to confront the parts of yourself that are weak, lazy, scared, and destroy them. Responsibility demands that you step into the full weight of your own power, no matter how heavy it feels. This is the foundation of true Stoic discipline: brutal ownership. No excuses, no blaming, no waiting. Only relentless action fueled by the fire of knowing that everything you need is already inside you, waiting for you to claim it. Every setback you face is not a sign of injustice. It's an invitation. A call to step up, to grow, to become harder, sharper, better. The world will never hand you greatness, but it will always hand you the opportunity to create it yourself if you have the courage to take responsibility. So today, stop hiding, stop blaming, stop waiting. Your life is not happening to you. You are creating it with every choice you make. Own it, every second, every failure, every victory. Build the life you were meant to live, not the life you were given. Greatness is reserved for those who are willing to carry the full weight of their own destiny without flinching. You have the power, you have the choice. Take responsibility, and watch your entire life transform. 7. Master the art of consistency. Inconsistency is the quiet assassin of dreams. It doesn't strike loudly. It doesn't announce itself. It sneaks in silently, wrapping itself around your ambitions like a slow, invisible death. It whispers lies in your ear. You can skip today. You can take it easy just this once. And without even realizing it, the fire you once felt, that burning motivation, flickers, weakens, dies, not from one massive failure, but from 1,000 small moments where you chose comfort over discipline. How many times have you started something with passion, with excitement, with promises made in the dead of night to yourself that this time will be different? How many times have you felt that surge of motivation only to watch it evaporate when things got hard, when the spark faded, when life didn't reward you immediately? Motivation is a fraud. It is a fleeting high, a sugar rush for your ambition. It comes and goes with the wind, abandoning you the moment the path gets steep. The ones who rise, the ones who conquer, the ones who change their lives, they don't rely on motivation. They rely on consistency. Consistency is brutal. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't ask if you're tired. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It demands you show up, day after relentless day, no matter how broken, how unmotivated, how beaten down you feel. It demands that you put in the work when no one is watching, when there is no applause, when there are no visible results. True consistency is savage. It laughs at excuses. It scoffs at self-pity. It crushes the voice that says, "Not today." Marcus Aurelius understood this law of life better than anyone. He didn't fantasize about greatness. He lived it through daily, unrelenting practice. What we do now echoes in eternity, he believed. Every action, every decision, every moment matters. Every brick you lay today becomes the foundation of the empire you will rule tomorrow. And every time you fail to show up, you tear down what you've built. There are no neutral days. You are either moving closer to your destiny or drifting further away from it. Ask yourself, how badly do you want it? How much are you willing to endure? Because the truth is, greatness isn't forged in grand moments of inspiration. It's built in the grind, in the repetition, in the 1,000 boring, painful, thankless days when no one cares, when no one is clapping, when no one even notices you. That is where the strong are separated from the weak. That is where discipline is born. Most people will quit. Most people will make excuses. Most people will tell themselves, it's okay to miss just this once. And those people will spend their lives trapped by their own inconsistency, wondering why nothing ever changed. But you are not most people. You are not here to blend in. You are here to dominate, to rise, to claim a life that most will never taste because they could not master the art of simply showing up. When you build consistency, you build momentum. And momentum is a monster. It carries you through the dark days when nothing seems to work. It fuels you when your body screams for rest and your mind pleads for comfort. Momentum is the invisible force that lifts you over obstacles too high to climb through willpower alone. And the only way to build it is to be relentless, to act, to move, to work. Even when you feel empty, even when you feel broken, even when you feel like giving up. Understand this. It's not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about making a vow to yourself that you will show up no matter what. That you will act not when you feel like it, but because it's who you are. And every time you honor that vow, you become stronger. Every time you show up, you sharpen your mind. You harden your spirit. You forge yourself into something unbreakable. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't earn applause. But it is the undefeated champion of transformation. Master it, and you will master your destiny. 8. Confront the fear of failure. Fear is not just a feeling, it's a force, a silent lurking monster that sinks its claws into your mind and paralyzes you before you even move. Fear doesn't shout, it whispers. It weaves itself into your thoughts, your doubts, your hesitations. It feeds off your hesitation, growing stronger with every second you spend standing still, thinking about what could go wrong. Fear of failure is one of the most devastating prisons you can ever lock yourself inside. And most people will spend their entire lives behind those bars, never even realizing they were the ones who built the cage. How many dreams have died before they ever took their first breath because someone was too afraid to fail? How many people have traded the fire inside them for the cold comfort of never trying, never risking, never stepping into the unknown? Fear doesn't just ask, what if you fail? It screams, what if you lose everything? What if you're humiliated? What if you're not enough? And if you listen, if you hesitate, you give it power. You give it dominion over the life you were meant to live. But here's the savage truth. Failure is not your enemy. It never was. Failure is your forge. Failure is the fire that burns away your weaknesses, that shatters your illusions, that teaches you what strength truly means. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle isn't blocking you. The obstacle is the way forward. The fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to sharpen you, to carve you into something stronger than you ever imagined." Ask yourself, what if you stopped fearing failure? What if you saw it for what it really is? Not a death sentence, but a weapon. Every failure you endure is a strike against the chains of weakness that have held you back. Every fall, every stumble, every bruise you earn is a lesson burned into your soul, a new piece of armor added to your spirit. Failure doesn't destroy the strong. It destroys the weak, the ones who never had the will to rise after the fall. The ones who choose to rise, who choose to fight again and again. They are the ones who are reborn stronger each time they fall. You have been running from fear for too long. You have let it dictate your pace, your choices, your destiny. But what if you turned and faced it? What if you charged into it? What if you stopped seeing it as something to be avoided and started seeing it as something to be conquered? Because the truth is, once you stop fearing failure, once you start embracing it, you become unstoppable. You act without hesitation. You move without fear. You live without chains. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning. It's the sharpening stone for greatness. It's the brutal mentor that strips away your illusions and shows you what you're truly made of. When you stop hiding from failure, when you stop letting fear control your moves, you gain something far greater than comfort. You gain freedom. Freedom to act. Freedom to grow. freedom to become the force you were always meant to be. So let the fear come, let the failure happen. Welcome it like a warrior welcomes the battle, not with trembling, but with fire in your veins. Because the second you stop running from what could go wrong is the second you become a force the world can no longer contain. Failure is not the enemy. Fear is not the enemy. The only enemy is the part of you that still believes you are anything less than capable of overcoming it all. You've now heard the 8 principles. You've stared straight into the mirror and seen the truth reflected back at you. Raw, undeniable, and brutal. But hearing them isn't enough. Understanding them isn't enough. None of this means anything unless you rise now and embody them. This isn't a motivational speech. This isn't a fantasy you daydream about for a few minutes and then forget. This is a call to arms, a declaration of war against the weakness that has kept you chained. You have the tools, you have the fire, you have the choice. But if you don't act, if you let this moment pass, then nothing changes. You stay trapped, you stay silent, you stay small. You were not born to live in the shadows. You were not created to crawl through life begging for scraps of validation and comfort. You were born for greatness. You were built for war, and if you don't seize that truth, if you don't claim that power, then every second you breathe without purpose is a slow death. The world doesn't owe you anything. Destiny doesn't wait around for the hesitant. It belongs to the ones who move, the ones who act, the ones who bleed for it without apology. This journey is not for the weak. It's not for the ones who want easy victories or quick applause. It's for the few, the rare, who are willing to burn down everything inside themselves that is soft, weak, afraid. It's for the warriors who understand that transformation requires sacrifice. That discipline is not a game, it's a life. A relentless, unforgiving life. But it is the only life worth living. The life of those who refuse to be ruled by fear, by craving, by comfort. The life of those who choose strength over ease, discipline over indulgence, action over hesitation. You are no longer the person you were when you first pressed play. That version of you, the one who made excuses, who waited for permission, who hesitated, is already burning away. Right here, right now, the new you is rising. Stronger, sharper, relentless. You know the principles. You know the truth. Now it's time to move. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more hoping life will somehow get easier. It won't. But you will get stronger. You will become the force that carves your path through the chaos. The clock is ticking, the world is waiting, and the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you could build is a single decision. Action. Ruthless, relentless, unstoppable action. If this message ignited something inside you, if you know you are ready to rise and take back your destiny, then show it. Like this video. Share it with someone who's been stuck in the shadows for too long, and subscribe, because this is only the beginning. Your future is calling, your time is now. Step into it.